Tensions rise in the South China Sea. Did China deliberately block a Philippine resupply mission in Ayungin Shoal? The Philippines say it was a calculated move, not an accident. Was this a misunderstanding or a strategic power play? We'll analyze the facts and explore the potential consequences for the region. Stay tuned because this story is far from over. What happened at Ayungin Shoal? On June 17, a Philippine resupply mission to Ayungin Shoal, a feature within the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, turned violent. It was a routine resupply mission, or so it deemed. A small Philippine vessel, bobbing gently on the turquoise waters of the South China Sea, approached Ayungin Shoal, a tiny reef claimed by the Philippines but also aggressively contested by China. The Philippine crew, a mix of young sailors and seasoned veterans, carried essential provisions for Filipino troops stationed on a rusty but resolute outpost there. Suddenly, the seemingly calm horizon shattered. Out of the morning mist materialized several Chinese Coast Guard, or CCG ships, their imposing forms dwarfing the Philippine vessel. The atmosphere crackled with tension as the CCG vessels cut off the Philippine ship's path, their sirens blaring. Through loudspeakers, a stern voice in heavily accented English boomed across the water, ordering the Filipinos to turn back. The Philippine captain, a wiry man named Carlos, held his ground. He calmly relayed his right to navigate within the Philippines' EEZ, citing international law. But reason seemed to have no place in this unfolding drama. As Carlos spoke, a CCG ship lurched forward, making a menacing pass directly in front of the Philippine vessel. The impact, though not a full-blown collision, sent a jolt through the smaller boat, rocking its crew. Fear etched itself onto their faces. The situation escalated further. CCG personnel, armed with what appeared to be metal batons and knives, rappelled down from their ships onto the Philippine vessel. The scene descended into chaos. Filipino sailors, vastly outnumbered and outgunned, tried to defend themselves with whatever they could muster. But it was a futile effort. The CCG officers boarded the Philippine vessel, their movements aggressive and hostile. They confiscated disassembled rifles meant for the Filipino troops on the outpost, further crippling their ability to defend themselves. In the ensuing struggle, a young Filipino sailor named Miguel lost his grip in the railing as the two vessels jostled against each other. He plunged into the churning water, a cry escaping his lips. The incident left a Filipino soldier with a severed thumb and several others with bruises and cuts. More importantly, it left a deep scar of humiliation and anger in the Philippines' national pride. The routine resupply mission had turned into a violent confrontation, a stark reminder of the simmering tensions in the South China Sea. The Philippines' response. At first, the news trickling out of the Philippine government painted a different picture. Officials downplayed the severity of the Ayungin Shoal incident, calling it a misunderstanding and a major altercation. There were whispers of a bump between vessels, some jostling, but nothing truly alarming. This muted response surprised many, considering the reports of a Filipino sailor being seriously injured and weapons being confiscated. Behind the scenes, however, a different story was unfolding. President Marcos Jr. had cut short a scheduled visit and rushed to personally meet with the Filipino troops who had bravely faced the CCG onslaught. As he listened to their harrowing accounts, a shift began to take place. The initial downplaying gave way to a surge of anger and frustration. The president emerged from the meeting with a grim expression. Gone was the attempt to smooth things over. In a televised address to the nation, his voice firm and resolute, he condemned China's actions. He called the incident a deliberate act of aggression and a blatant violation of international law. The confiscated rifles, the injured soldier, the aggressive maneuvers, all of it now painted a picture of a calculated move by China, not a simple misunderstanding. The sudden shift in tone sent shockwaves through the Philippines. Citizens who had been initially confused and concerned were now outraged. Social media erupted with anger directed at China, with hashtags like #Ayungin Shoal and Defend Our Seas trending nationwide. The public outcry forced the government's hand, pushing them to adopt a more assertive stance against China's bullying tactics. The initial attempts to downplay the incident were swept aside, replaced by a wave of indignation and a renewed determination to protect the Philippines' territorial integrity. South China Sea Dispute. For centuries, the South China Sea has been a source of both bounty and dispute. Lush archipelagos like the Spratly Islands dots its turquoise expanse, promising rich fishing grounds and potential reserves of oil and natural gas. But these very reaches have become a source of friction, particularly with China's aggressive maritime claims. China asserts its dominance over most of the South China Sea through a controversial map illustration known as the 9-dash line. This line encompasses a vast swathe of territory, including features well within the exclusive economic zones or EEZs of other countries like the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. The problem? International law, specifically the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, recognizes only a country's EEZ extending 200 nautical miles from its coastline. China's expansive claims, based on historical interpretations and vague geographical features, simply don't hold water under international law. This disregard for international law has fueled tensions in the region for decades. China has engaged in a strategy of salami slicing, slowly asserting its dominance through acts like land reclamation projects on disputed reefs and islands. These activities not only bolster China's physical presence, but also intimidate other claimants, making it increasingly difficult for them to access resources within their own EEZs. The Ayungin Shoal incident is just the latest chapter in this ongoing saga. It serves as a stark reminder of the potential flashpoints that exist throughout the South China Sea. China's disregard for international norms and its relentless pursuit of dominance threaten the delicate balance of power in the region and raise concerns about the potential for wider conflict. Potential consequences. The violent encounter at the Ayungin Shoal alarmed the region, with images of a beleaguered Philippine vessel overshadowed by Chinese Coast Guard ships, confiscated weapons, and injured Philippine personnel. The threat of an accidental military clash loomed large. Escalating tensions in the South China Sea, a critical trade route and resource-rich area, could disrupt global commerce and jeopardize food security and potential economic prosperity from oil and gas reserves. The international community must unite to condemn China's aggressive actions and ensure freedom of navigation. Diplomacy is key. Open communication channels and adherence to international law, like UNCLOS, are essential. ASEAN can facilitate dialogue and cooperation. The world watches with bated breath as the stakes are high. The Ayungin Shoal incident underscores the need for a balance between asserting national interests and maintaining peace. Only through collective efforts to uphold international law and foster regional cooperation can the South China Sea remain stable and prosperous. What's next for the Philippines and China? The Ayungin Shoal incident jolted the Philippines, shifting initial shock to determined resolve. Despite being smaller and less powerful than China, the nation refused to back down. President Marcos Jr. outlined a multifaceted strategy focusing on diplomacy and adherence to international law while leveraging ASEAN and back channels with China. Realizing the need for stronger maritime defenses, the Philippines prioritized modernizing its Navy and Coast Guard and enhanced military exercises with allies like the U.S. National Pride Surge, with local businesses boosting military supply production and citizens joining maritime security programs, striving for self-reliance in defense. Facing a formidable China, the path ahead was tough, requiring patience and strategy. However, with strong public support and international backing, The Philippines was determined to protect its rights and resources. The Ayungin Shoal incident marked a turning point, igniting a resolve to defend its future with a newfound purpose. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. Thanks for watching.